Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's election time, and where else to be than on Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberian. Elections was on October 10th, that's Tuesday, and this is October 11th. We want to have our post-2023 elections analysis and updates right here on Focus on Liberia. Let me welcome our public policy analyst, Mrs. Carl Famblett, also presenter of the History Channel. Welcome to the show, Carl. If you can unmute, we will.
I am muted. Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Great. Let me also welcome a former TLA member, Mr. James Lassa, a Buckeye supporter. Welcome, James.
Thank you, Dennis. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Let me welcome Glendy Jane, and the independent. She supports the opposition bloc. Welcome, Glendy.
Thanks, Dennis. Great to be here.
Thank you. Last and definitely not the least is Mr. Gabriel M. Carter. He's the host on Everywhere Marketplace, and he supports the CPP. Mr. Carter, welcome to the show.
Dennis, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia. We're going to be talking about post-elections update and analysis. And we're going to start very slowly tonight. Let me say the elections are over. This is day 2. And so I just want to say happy post-election day. How y'all feeling?
Fine. Fine. Yeah, looking forward.
And James, why are you fine? So let's start by let me start by how everybody doing, and what's your general feeling about the results that are coming out so far, just initially. Let me start with you, James.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. So the elections was held yesterday, just about 24 hours or more ago. You would think that by now, as the Election Commission started pronouncing the initial results, you would think they would have been able to at least do as much as could go from Maserati. They did few polling places, and that was it. And that's just not good. However, the number reflects that Boaka is leading, is for now the front runner, with about 2/3 of the votes. And of course, that is going to fluctuate over time, but we'll have to be looking forward. It's just not good to be that way.
Thank you. Glendy, your initial reactions to the early numbers coming out and being what, 24 hours since, except that in my part of the world, elections were today because of bad roads, because of rivers and all kinds of things. And except that in my... Go ahead, Glendy.
So, lots of different views, lots of different feelings. As for me, I'm having fun. I'm following the story. I'm sharing the story. That's what you get when you don't really. I was telling someone today, one of my friends, I was talking to her and she was feeling so down. He says, why are you emotionless? I said, no, I think I've learned a lot from 2017 to just in 2023 be an independent and talk about who I want to talk about and not really be worried about it. I think it's very concerning with the fluctuations in the numbers from the different camps. And then also when you're relying on NEC, and we're seeing that someone said it was only 0.27%, or they're only pulling now from Montserrato. So it's a bit discomforting that NEC would not have been able to at least have a portion of the votes from each of the different.
Thank you. Mr. Carter.
Yeah, Dennis. I think I feel I share the sentiment with everybody as well. Initially, I think, I would say this: it's too early. Now, if you want to look at what has come out to say we're going to project it based on the trend, you're fair enough to say that. But as Glendy said, there's only 0.2 or not even 0.5% when vote has been counted. So it's very early. Yes, if you want to see the trend, you can start projecting, but there's a whole lot of votes out there still need to be counted. And I think the opposition bloc who support Mr. Cummings, I would disclose that. I still have a little bit of hope, but I also have to be aware that the trends so far do not support something favorable in our interest. So I'll leave it on that.
Thank you. Carl, what's your feeling?
Yeah, I mean, so people have poll watchers, and people are getting precincts are reporting their tally sheets to their various political parties. So there's a lot more information available to people than what is on the NEC website. I'm very disappointed in the efficiency of NEC. And I don't want to be negative, but it seems that some of this is deliberate and intentional, because yesterday they were really quick to put out, the very first precincts, and then they put a sudden halt when the results of those few early precinct tallies looked a certain way. It just all of a sudden stopped, and it stopped for 24 hours now, which is unacceptable. And that should have everyone, pause and reflect. NEC is not supposed to do that. They're supposed to present results as they've done in the past as they come in. So by now we should have way greater than 50% of the tally in. They froze yesterday with the first upload, which is disappointing. And then also, even with that first upload, what they would normally do is also upload the photo to the website. So the website's not being manned, it's not being updated. And that's causing some tension and room for some tension. So the way that NEC is handling this is very irresponsible, especially in light of the violence that's happened recently. They need to be as efficient as possible. And they need to communicate with the public as much as they can. So yes, people are going off of trends, they're going off of reports that they're receiving from the various precincts. And the good news is those tally sheets were photographed. Most people took pictures of them, video of them counting ballots. So there's a lot of evidence in case anyone tries anything funny like they did in 1985. Since, I'm always rooted in history and I know what has happened in Liberia in the past. But I think that it's inevitable they're going to have to report what's happening.
Yes.
And that's just that. But, the suspense and making people wait is just a very bad sign. It's a bad sign, and it's not how you conduct a free and fair election. It's not how you conduct yourself transparently, and that's not how you build trust from the population. So I would hope that over the next few hours, they start to upload the data that they clearly have onto the website so that the public can view it.
Thank you. And so tonight, thank you for your initial comments. Tonight, we're going to be starting with the NEC provisional results. I think all of you alluded to that. So if you are on the NEC website, we have the provisional results coming out. At this point, we have 0.27%. That is 16 out of the 5,890 polling places in the country.
Yes, and this was the very first upload yesterday. I just want to point out when they uploaded this. This was yesterday at about right around 5 p.m. Eastern time. So it's been more than 24 hours. I just wanted to point that out, Dennis.
Right.
That these numbers have not changed.
And with that number, we have, with less than 1% counted, we have Joseph Nwambwaka of the UP leading with 60%, followed by the incumbent, George Weah, 32%, Appleton, 1.7, Cummings, 1.37, Lucini Camara of ARCOP. And these results are from Bombing and Monserrato. Jeremiah Wapo with 0.6, followed by Councillor Gonglo, 0.4, Fremont, and on and on and on. And we have the last being, not the last, we have 12 persons.
20.
And the last here is Alexander Colley of RNC. That's the provisional, and I know many of you kind of spoke about it a little bit. 0.27% representing Monserrato, Priest, and Bombing counties. That's NEC.
Mm-hmm.
Glennie, you have the same feeling? This too early, too late for 0.27? I mean, there was a press conference today talking about this less than 1%. I mean, how does NEC want us to take this, and how are you taking it, Glennie?
I mean, I think as we move into the numbers, just back to what Cole said, I think it's really unfair that the different candidates and the different parties or the different war rooms may have numbers that they're showing, and NEC, who is supposed to be the keeper of those numbers, they're not saying anything. So what are they expecting the population to do? What are they expecting the Liberian people to say or to do? Because it's almost like we know the numbers we have. Take, for example, Yeke Kuluwa, who I'm excited about that he won. But based on what he said, if now Yeke knows with all of the pictures that they have from the different papers, and then after a week or so, NEC comes out and says, Yeke, you didn't win. So how are they preparing to take care of those situations when you're now saying most of the candidates, like, there's people are saying that this person has won, maybe 4 or 5 of the different people have won. Buffer Chimas, for example, another one that I'm excited that he lost. If he has lost, I'm so excited.
And Glennie, where you getting this information from that this person lost, this person won?
So from the tally sheets, I have a lot of tally sheets that were sent to me. All of the tally sheet from Maryland I have, that you can see the number. I think it's like right now, I think I also heard today that Buffer Chimas complained to NEC because the difference in the win is 91 votes. So he went and complained. But if you're having all of these things, how are they preparing to take care of these skirmishes of problems that they're having now before they now come to us and say they have the number? I don't blame the citizenry or even UP partisans or other people from being excited, because the people that's supposed to be leading this process, they're really not leading it. So when they're showing no leadership, what are you expecting people to do? It's like, if the people in the different groups, they have the tally sheets, they have the numbers, what's stopping NEC from having those same numbers and producing them? They're the keeper of the numbers.
probably NEC want to be very meticulous. Gabriel, do you think there's an early announcement or this celebration? Do you think that's a problem? Don't you think? Because when the results come up to be the opposite, that's going to be some problems here.
And that's I think somebody may have alluded to that. Either Cole or Glendy may have alluded to that. And that's the problem that we have right now. That is the biggest problem. That's what we should be worrying about. If you have, I'm not saying those tally sheets that are coming out are not accurate, but how accurate are those, right? How do we know that those are accurate? How do you know that people are not making up those numbers, right? If the numbers are not officially coming from the NEC, we should not be putting out anything. Matter of fact, that should be something that every political party should be against. Wait for the official election, the numbers from NEC to come out, because like you alluded to, if we are celebrating numbers here and they come out, I think Glenn alluded to that, and they said this person won when we expected that person to lose. That's chaos. We already know the kind of country we have right now. It's fragile, regardless of how we want to say it, it's very fragile. And from that fragility, it's exactly what the care needed to be taken from NEC. Now, I don't want to speculate, but I think there was a little bit of intentionality to what they're doing here. As I said yesterday on a previous show, it could have been intentional. You could strangulate NEC to ensure that, right? You could strangulate NEC financially, the poll washers and every other thing that's supposed to ensure that we have an effective election to do that. So what I'm trying to caution people about is do not just, I understand we all want to be excited to say we win, our candidate is winning, but let's follow the rules. The rules are the rules. If NEC is in charge to do that job, let them do that job. Yes, we can criticize them for not doing the job properly, but let's follow the rules and allow them to do their job. If not, if they start coming out with numbers and they are contrary to what we have out there, we're going to be disappointed, and that's when the chaos is going to happen. We are not ready for that right now. We just came out of war 20 years ago. We are not ready to have any more chaos in our country. So I will leave it on that.
Right. And why would people, because the tally sheets are signed, they're photographed, so they are accurate. I mean, they're all over the place. We can show them or not, but a lot of people have seen a lot of these tally sheets. So that shouldn't be ground for war, right? Or
correct.
Well, not ground for war, but chaos. We saw what happened prior to the election, day before to the election. That was just a disagreement. We, as much as we want to think that we're a tolerant people right now, we are not tolerant, not even in disagreements, right? And those are the things we have to be very careful about. We're a very fragile people in a country right now. Yes, I understand those tallies are supposedly coming from them, but anything can happen. Anybody can manufacture anything in that place. Until NEC come out and say those tallies are valid and those numbers are valid, this is what we should. That's what we should be waiting for. I understand we all want to claim victory here and there, but we got to be very careful in doing that. Matter of fact, we're not even 1% of the way there. Like there should be the quiet that we have right now. Let it remain quiet. I'm glad let it remain quiet. Let's wait for NEC.
Yeah. Thank you. And Colm, we're in the United States, and we know that almost any time the elections are called from the press, right?
Correct.
Right.
The actual numbers come very little. So various media outlets are putting out these tally sheets. NEC is far behind. So if we can compare both, so what we make of these NEC numbers and tally sheets?
I completely disagree with Gabriel as far as people being able to make public the tally sheets that they're receiving and this information. I think that is normal in a democracy. I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. This process is supposed to be transparent. And I think people have been very responsible. Those who have been sharing tally sheets, they're sharing official data from the polling stations, which is part of the process of transparency and checks and balances. It's to allow the public to know, and also the government to know that we see, we are watching, and we have records ourselves. This is a good thing for democracy. What the problem is NEC and their inefficiency. And NEC has an air of deliberate, deliberately trying to stall. And people might start to suspect that they're plotting something, which hopefully, is not the case. But it is very important for the government to be efficient in sharing the official tally sheets as they're received, as they've done in the past. And as to answer your question about, the United States, Nigeria, any other, Ghana, other countries whose elections I've watched, it's the same thing. But other countries are much more efficient in releasing official data as it comes in. And in fact, NEC was more efficient just in 2017 than they're being right now. I don't know what's happening, but this is unusual for you not to add more than 16 tally sheets in the more than 24 hours. It's a red flag.
It is. It is.
It is.
James, you watch a lot of these tally sheets. What are you learning from the tally sheets?
Yeah, good. I would just like to make about 2 observations quickly, and then I proceed to say that we have to commend the Liberian people for turning out in their numbers to go to vote. Yeah. They themselves are committed to the nation, to themselves. And that is a testament to that. They turn out early in the morning, they were there until in the evening. In some cases, some contestants were even arguing for them to be pushed out of the lines because they were after 6 and other things. So they did well. We want to recognize that and commend them for that. And to my sis Glennie, just to indicate that the about 5,000 votes that the NEC has out there, that came from a very small number of polling places from Bomi, Kidmouth, and Monserrado. Yeah, so even if you go on the website, the page that Dennis showed, if you go back at the bottom, they will say click here for details. You go there, it's a void page. I mean, it's a page.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and to be frank, I really think much of that has to do with Carter. You made a point that didn't occur to me. I did write a piece of article on this very concern today, and I tried to give reason why it is this way. I left for the important point you raised about financial constraint. I left that out, and that is very crucial. But I think more than that is the deception involved. I think that's a key one, and much of that is incompetence as well. And that is, if the election will go through, and if the UP gets there, I'm telling you, I have little access to Boyka. I'll be pushing for the election commissioners to be changed entirely because that is incompetence. That is something that they can be removed for. That's not good. But in terms of my observation,
What is the incompetence? I didn't get that.
Carl just spoke to that. The management of the system, the inefficiency,
because sometimes we don't look at some of the constraints and we talk about incompetence. So that's why.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I said Carter already to talk about constraints, but they later appeared to before the legislature, and they asked her if she was having problem, and they talking about money issue, and she was like, there is money issue, but she was not forthcoming with information as though she is some connivance with the government. The money is coming, is going to come. And she was very arrogant. And when Dylan went and met her there, to raise the issue, and she was pressed against the corner, she was like, what happened? We're having these problems. The FRR couldn't be produced. After all, we didn't get all the money. But you were just before the legislature. You were not forthcoming. Yeah. So a lot of things are happening behind there, and I don't agree with Carter very much in terms of the freedom of communication of information. Liberian citizens should be free to have access to. Other than that, then why do we have the tally sheets that can be distributed to a contestant?
Exactly.
All right, people, even in America, you can have the election going on and one CNN giving one number, Fox giving one number, Fox will want to one number back. It's important for people to know, but they are holding it. And the article I wrote, Dennis, if you don't mind, let me just go through it quickly. Just 3 points I raised. I think number one, they do this, they hold it back. They don't want to give all the numbers because if they do that, probably they may be offending the government, upsetting them, and there will be political or violent retribution against them, and that would be a good reason why I think they should do it the way they are doing. But that is the reason. And number two is that, for example, they hold it back so that they can give the establishment ample time in between to manipulate. Like those of us who follow the social media keenly,
Yes.
Akara's grade apparently was defeated yesterday. His opponent said that, and he was quiet as though it was true. But then it took long when he found out that his opponent didn't have all the tally sheets. I understand the claim is that and we saw the pictures of 3 pickups were armed men, went to the polling places and started tearing down the tally sheets so that they can, through that, they can work with his neck and get the numbers changed. So this is why it's good to get these numbers out there for people to get to see and have an impression of what's going on. It's just not good, to be frank. And so we'll see. The fact, and one thing I tried to convey in the article I wrote today was that one major problem, even with very well-educated persons, is that most people are not comfortable with numbers, especially when you're talking about statistics. They don't understand it. And so when they see Bwaka up today by 60%, and very likely for good reason, tomorrow we have to be over. And then so it's just dangerous. You just not good. Put a number out, let the people get to see it. So that is how I see it, Dennis. It's just not good.
Yeah.
But before you let you your article, don't you think that you delve into a lot of speculations that may also cause trouble? That you're saying, well, if this happened, it may be because they are in cahoots with government and this kind of thing.
No. Well, if you listen to me, I gave good reason why they will be doing that in good faith, but because of fear of retribution. And another thing, a second reason is that
where you get that from, that fear of retribution.
Well, if you follow election activities around the world, most election commission chairmen and workers often become real brutal, fatal victims as a result of that. So that is a well-known, well-established fact about that. But the second reason I'll give him is expectation management, which is good. I don't think next you make it a business to want to manage expectation.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. We want to cool it so that the crowd doesn't get frenzy and panic or get out there. That's just correct.
Another thing that we saw here, Gabriel, you want to come in briefly before I go to my next point?
No.
What we are saying is, and a few of you spoke to that already, like people claiming and counter claiming. I saw a post, one of like this one. Someone saying, that hey, I won, this person lost. I saw Yeka was out there with a celebration. Move and let Yeka sit down. These are now Akara's Gray came back and say, "Oh no, I won," and these things. Glendy, who's first of all, who's telling the truth here?
I mean, how do we know? We only know based on what tally sheets we've seen. But I want to go back to Cole's point because I think the action of NEC I don't want to think is incompetence. I think it's deliberate. Because if they started pouring out numbers, and if you watched yesterday, I think maybe for like an hour, numbers, and then after that, they stopped, and then the website went down. So those are deliberate acts that we can attribute to something wrong that's going on. They're trying to cheat, because this is the thing. I don't think they expected the results that they saw from whatever percentage that they put out. And when they watched the trend coming from those 3 counties, they got afraid, because then you also have, and I said that last night, you also have to consider that the incumbent president has a large influence on the people at NEC. So they themselves, so they're not free of biasness. They're biased people. And so unfortunately for them, I will hope those different political leaders or YKKM Comics, I will hope that they hold close to their tally sheets. You have international observers too that have those same tally sheets, because if you already closed my polling station, these are the sheets you got from here. If any new tally sheet shows up from the one that I've had or the one that we took pictures of, then that's cheating. And I think the Liberian people as a whole should become very aware of what is going on and not be silent. This is wrong. A lot of the Liberian people show up. Like I said, I'm excited that the women were more that registered. They show up to vote. They must not allow these elections to be for them to be cheated and not to get the result that they voted for. So I think NEC is to be blamed. How do we know what's true if they're coming up with different stories now? They're to be blamed.
Let me share comments here from Admin Salif. He said, let's be cautious. Even in Kenya and other places, it took days and weeks before final results were tabulated and officially announced. The electoral management bodies take time to be meticulous. As long as they are not up to a funny game, we should be patient since we have tally sheets. Carl, don't you think Mr. Salif has a point here?
I think Mr. Salif's making a different point from what I'm making.
Yes.
No one said we wanted results now. What we're saying is that they need to present what they have as it comes in.
Thank you.
They started the process. When I checked the website about 5 p.m. Eastern time, they already had, that was the first time that I saw the 16 tally sheets that have been uploaded. I know that it doesn't take 24 hours to upload one more or two more or three more. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing else has happened in over 24 hours. That is the part that's odd. I think sometimes when we make these comments, we just listen to what people are saying. I've not heard any one of these panelists say, we want the final results now. What we're talking about is the process in which they have stalled these updates. And the fact that we know most of these polling stations in Montserrat and many of the other counties, NIMBA, have concluded their work and turned it over to NEC. So it's not that NEC is waiting for things to come in. I know they don't probably have things in from Sino yet because the ballots got wet and they had to wait for them to dry and all kind of other fancy stories. But what we're talking about is what we know that they have in their possession that they're not updating, and that's not transparent behavior.
Correct.
James, why nobody is talking for Jericho where the ballots arrive 6 p.m. and we have to vote today? That's not fair.
Yeah, Carl just spoke about that, and I think she's right. Of course, we know the road condition, and she's also contrasting that with places like Nima or Bon County or Magidi, where you have a bulk of the votes and you can get the boxes put in the car carried in Moravia. In Moravia, you're not counting ballots, you're looking at tally sheets. Dump them in like that, and it's done. But they are not doing that. And then for Sanu and places like Grand Crew and of course Riverside, I think there will be re-election in Riverside in 2 polling places. That is just even more compounded and pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
And of course supported by the evidence of worst development in those areas. Though there's no development anywhere in the country, but those are the worst areas.
And James, as I was saying, people claiming these things. We saw this from Anthony F. Williams and Anthony and Beaufort Chambers elections. They've declared, people are congratulating Tai Wongbe, Nimba, Yeke Koluba is celebrating, Karos Gray and Toes are claiming and counter-claiming. Is that going to cause more confusion? Is this tactics or what's going on?
I think that is more rise is given on that more by rise is given to that more by the action or inaction of NEC. Not only in this instance of election, over the time, NEC has just always done this thing. So I think it's right. In the case of Maryland Plebo, at least that is much easier because Beaufort Chambers is not saying he didn't lose. He said, yes, I lost. But Fonati Kofa, who is a deputy speaker to me, wants to be speaker to replace me, he left his constituency, took $10,000, bring it in my area, and give it to the young man to win me. And so I'm going to, so that is easy to handle. Now, with Yeke Koluba, I mean, we have some very good news here, though, because in Yeke Koluba's case, he won, he has all the tally sheets, and he won Now
And
this is
great to say
there's
you have all the
official
talent.
declaration here. I'm just, well, let me make disclosure in a way. He says he won. He has all the tally sheets, but just more than Yeka declaring that, his opponent, who many people felt would have posed great dangers to his political career, the young man called Jeremiah Conson or something, Yeka, he has a name that sounds pretty much like
Yeka.
name as well. So he came out very, very early and did a concession statement on social media. And so since Yaka been going on, and even in many instances, almost attacking his main rival, that main rival has not acted like Kara's great to go around and even deny she's quiet. I think the action of that young man has helped a lot to quell that. When I was doing my exploration in Bangai, I was trying to run. I was asking Bangai, what would I do if, the question was, you seem to be strong, but just in case somebody comes from the side and wins you, what will you do? I told him I will be the first. I'll be looking out to be the first so that nobody can beat me in conceding if another man wins. Now, unfortunately, in the case of District 8 Monserrato with Akeras Gray and Toll, there's a young man who I think is promising, Rufus Nouvelle, who I thought would have done well. He adjusted there quiet and looking at these two guys, and he had a representative that he could come and either concede or do something like what a young man did in District 10. But he is quiet, and from here, I'm going to be sending a message to him, challenging him to take some action, Dennis.
Thank you.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I think it is okay for that level of coming out early victory supposedly from the population, but I think if you were somebody who were running, I think it is incumbent upon you're supposed to wait for NAC, right? Next to make that declaration. I don't think any of those candidates supposed to come out early claiming victory. That way you just muddy the water with everything that's happening in the crowd. So I don't. For those that are waiting, despite their supporters claiming that they won, I agree with them. Like, you should be quiet and just wait for.
No, I'm talking about concession, not those claiming victory, but those who
the same thing. I think.
How do you claim concede? How do you concede if
you don't know exactly?
You have the talent sheets. You have the talent sheets. We do that. It happens.
I mean, the same reason. So just to answer your question, Gabriel, you do make a valid point, and this is why when they asked Yeka why he was celebrating, he said it's my birthday. Correct. Because he knows he's not supposed to be celebrating until Ned tells him to celebrate. So we don't have anyone really openly declaring victory. You don't see Boykai or anybody even paying attention to the noise. Everyone's being very professional. Yeka again was in the streets celebrating his birthday, which he has a right to have a birthday whenever he wants, right? So I mean, how many of people are like, bro, get birth certificate? So my point here is you make a valid point, but I agree with Mr. Lassa that if Buffalo Chambers, the Speaker of the House, can say go to NEC to complain about a 91 vote gap, all of these candidates have their poll watchers, and all of them have all of the tally sheets for their districts, especially people running for the House of Representatives, because the amount of polling places in some of these places are so small. So they have an idea. If Buffalo Chambers can go to NEC about this and NEC discuss it with them, there's clearly enough information. You're talking about Maryland County. How many people actually are in Buffalo Chambers district? That's another thing we need to talk about on another show, Dennis, because Buffalo Chambers is a representative for far fewer people than Akaris Gray was. And that's really unconstitutional, but that's a different conversation.
Right. I understand.
So I wanted to bring in something because they say elections are, won or lost, people want to rig the election, they do it far ahead of time. It appears to me, so let me show you the NEC timetable, right? NEC put this up saying we're going to take from October 12 to 24 to be announcing provisional results, right? And I don't know if we thought that was okay and let that go on, right? So now they are just they are ahead of schedule, right?
That was the point that I was trying to make earlier. And,
Today is the 11th. They say it's going to start on the 12th.
right. So
And
that
we
is the
didn't
point.
raise any alarm at that point.
That is the point that I was trying to make earlier. So I think James alluded to, I think one of you guys alluded to the website being taken down, right? Like once you see those kind of trend, for me,
Mhm.
I understand we are a rebirth democracy that is new and it is ugly, it is muddy. The things that we're doing now are not clear, are not sound. There's no institution behind them. This these processes are what we're supposed to be using to build the institution and the processes. What do I mean by that, right? So clear evidence. You go check the website is taken down. You look at that, the timetable that they put out is too long.
Mhm.
This is when the opposition, somebody within the opposition is supposed to come out and say, hey, this is election violation. That the website is supposed to be up. It's taken down. Somebody's supposed to hold somebody's feet to the fire. Those timetable that came out, they're too long. If we look at the historical election and we said these are not timetable that we've used to, somebody's supposed to bring them up. It's not the fact that NEC would do something right now in this election, but the fact that if that were to happen again in the next election, the other political party within that during those elections will know exactly what to do. Hey, we see how those people handle it before. We're going to do the same thing here. So people should be like, I think everybody is so concerned about winning, that but we're not thinking about building the processes of democracy as we want it to be for the future. So those are the things that we should be paying attention
Well,
to as well.
Dennis, I have to say that personally, I don't have any particular problem with the timeline because I have a project management background. I know when you set a time range for deadlines, that
Mhm.
actually is built in a portion for latitude, for caution. How do you say, erred on the side of caution. Often when you make an appointment with some technician to come work in your home and they say we'll be there from this time to that time, they will try to come as early, long before that time. So I will reason with that. But the fact is to give 0.27% of the vote after
They could have just waited.
yeah, that is just not right. And we are professionals, we know where we come from. So even though you have 12 weeks there, 12 days, you could do that in 5 days, 6 days. You deal with talent sheets, you're not counting ballots. You're not counting ballots. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah.
Dennis, I wanna also to look at when Dylan ran. And one of the things they tried to do was to cheat Dylan, but they were unable to succeed.
Correct.
Because Dylan Kemp had all of the tally sheets. And so no matter how they tried, they couldn't do it. Now, if you are saying you're supposed
and you
to
were on the DeLong campaign, right? If you wanted to close that, okay.
Yes. So they all the way they try, and they even put, and even today Dylan share a posting where they even probably almost announced that Thomas Fala had won.
Yeah. They did announce Thomas Fala.
Until they had to really count the tally sheets and find out that no, this was not true. Dylan actually won. So it's like, and we have to look at, and I hear the comment, I read the comment from comparing Kenya, but what we have here is the precedence in Liberia. What has happened before? What can we do now? What are we doing differently? We're not going to pull other countries into our Liberia. We're going to look at what has happened before. If this has happened, we used tally sheets before, and NEC didn't say you can't post your tally sheets, you can't take pictures, your tally sheet has to be in hiding, or it should be hidden until we announce. If people are free to share the tally sheets, then NEC should watch out, because people have their sheets. I have all of the Koluba sheets from his district, every single one of them. So I hope NEC knows what they're doing. And 0.27%, they could have waited for tomorrow. If they're going to start releasing it on the 12th, they could have waited. But it's almost like adding an insult to injury to come and release 0.27, and then tomorrow you do a whole dump, and then we find tomorrow that this trend where people are not now believing that there's a trend leading to towards the UP camp as being ahead, and tomorrow we see we are. How would you expect the citizens to react?
Yeah,
Right.
but that's typical of any
Exactly.
time, any
You wanna-
election. That's typical, right? As the
Well, let
elections
me
come
do-
out, people it fluctuates. Sometime
Mhm.
someone who is up gets down. So that's normal.
So
right?
the power of these tally sheets shouldn't be underestimated.
Yes.
For example, every single district in NIMBA, every single polling place, every single tally sheet is recorded, and then they also get their pink copy, but besides that, they're all photographed. So when NEC, one of the things about the NEC website is when they upload the results, they're supposed to also upload a physical copy of the
Yes.
tally sheet for each
Yes.
single polling place. So here they have 16, but no photos of the tally sheets. So that's already a breach of their process.
Thank you.
Polling center.
Okay, so that's really strange. And now it's been 24 hours more than that. Like what is this now? 28 hours since I saw this on the website. So about 9 p.m. Liberia time is when I went on the website, 5 p.m. here. And that's what I saw, and nothing has changed. They haven't uploaded a physical copy of those tally sheets, which is strange. So it is a form of security for the voters, for the citizens as well. You know, trust but verify.
Correct.
So when they do upload those results, we can also go and check and say, okay, here's the polling place, you know, Basila Public School, right? From where I'm from in Nimba, in Gaklan, I can go through all those tally sheets and compare them to what NEC uploaded and their numbers. That's the reason we have the tally sheets. So fraud, it's not impossible, but if it happens, it'll be detected.
Yes.
You know, they're not going to get away with it. We'll know. That's the point.
They're not.
Thank you. I've posted the link to the NEC website just in case. That's the page there. You can click on it and view the results. So with what we've seen so far from the
hold on. Just try clicking on that little hyperlink. They have that click for detail. You won't find anything there.
Mm-hmm. There's no details, and that's unusual even for NEC.
Right.
So
that is
2017, all the by-elections, they were very careful to put the physical tally sheets there.
Yes.
From what has come out, what are we learning from the results? Especially, let's start with the presidential. We see that from the numbers coming up, we see Boakai, we are Boakai. So from the numbers that we are getting, what can we glean from those numbers as to where this presidential race is going?
Yeah, look, Dennis, I have to say this. Mrs. Formula just made a point. She just made a point about the sanctity of the tally sheet. That couldn't be overemphasized. That is important. It has.
It was already emphasized.
Yeah, it has. I just want to say an example. You'll be surprised to hear me say that I was following a journalist and his radio station, and he was in Nimba. They sent him there for him to report on the tally sheets, and he looked at the tally sheets. What was apparent was that he was for CDC, and the numbers at that polling center, the numbers were for Boakai. And he was calling it in the opposite, and it was live on radio. And people in Nimba, Nimba people are very spirited. They were there, said this is not true, and somebody ran there and got to the guy on the radio station and said, "Your man down there is not speaking the truth." And on live radio, they took him to task. He apologized. He said his eyes were giving him a hard time. So
it's true.
The tally sheet is very, very important. But in terms of what we are making up from the numbers, Dennis, I'm a data miner by background. I deal with numbers like nobody business. And you can always look at data.
Right now, project management now, data mining.
Yeah, but that's not it. Project management has concentration. Correct. Yeah. So you deal with numbers, clean, analyze, construct models and things. So I look at a number. What I'm detecting is, I think I was on a show yesterday or so, and about almost 2 weeks ago, I did write an article, and predicted, or at least I did a forecast in which I said Bouaka was going to win on the first count, first ballot. And when I appeared on the show, I said that I was even more specific. I said he was going to be winning by about 53 to 56% of the total votes. At this point, I stand by that, and the data is trending slightly above that. But I know it's because by the time you bring in the Southeast votes and others, that will moderate and come just to about that. And that is how I see it. I listen to quite, if you go to KMTV page, you will see that Bouaka is winning. We are by higher, but mainly by 2 to 1. 2 to 1. 2 to 1. 2 to 1. And the same thing if you go to the Southeast, Weah is winning Bouaka by 2 to 1. 2 to 1 in River G and Sun and things. And since the Southeast is not as sizable as compared to where Bouaka is winning, you can see why, that's the case. And that's my own projection. I listen to a lot of numbers from Bombing, where sometimes in some instances Bouaka is winning Weah by 10 to 1. 10 to 1. I'm telling you. Then it comes down to 5 to 1. But I think the average number will settle to about 3 or 2 to 1 in the end.
Yeah.
I think my prediction will hold.
Are you surprised at how these numbers are coming? Especially when you consider the other candidates?
No, not at all. I think the guy who is in power now, the people are angry. They are angry, man. It's just easy to be angry in Liberia now. So I'm not surprised at all, Dennis. And that was the basis of my forecast. I don't like the boast. I don't like the boast of predating. I think this is the first time I'm doing it in the open. I don't like that. It's not a good thing to do, but the guy who is there, he has just made it easy for these things. So the people are angry. They are really angry.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, what are the numbers telling you from what's coming in from the tally sheets? NEC is 0.27, so I don't want to even dwell on that. But mainly from the tally sheets coming from all over the country, look like Bouaka, we are dominance.
Yeah, I mean, from what we're seeing so far, that's what the numbers are trending. Now, if like James said, if you're a number person you want to project, if they continue down that trend, if they stay constant, everything else stay constant, that's what we're going to see. But there's also that little bit of caution there that hey, we're not even, we haven't counted 1% of the vote yet, but that's what we've seen so far. It seems as if this is going to be, if everything else hold constant, this is going to be a two-man runoff. If it gets to that,
did you expect a two-horse race here?
I am, to be honest with you, as somebody who support Mr. Cummings, I did not expect. I expected this at least to go to. I think I said it on the show. Jim and I were on probably 2 days ago that this was going to go to a runoff. I expected a runoff. I know that the Liberian people are frustrated with the current administration. So that is not something that we even want to argue about. We were aware of that, but I did not expect it to be, 2 people in the lead right now. I expected it to be at least around 3 people, and maybe at the end 2 people going to a runoff. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of surprises here, and I'm very surprised. So,
and if what we are looking at remain that way, we'll ask what has happened to Mr. Cummings and Councillor Gonglo, because we saw members in NIMBA, and
I don't think I there's a lot to be said. I will plead the fifth on that for now. There's a lot to be said.
Sorry, Gabriel, but.
Glennie, what has happened to if those numbers, right? For me, I too expected a little more fight than what I'm seeing now. I'm saying Bouaka, we are Bouaka, and the rest of the people are distant. Did you expect that in the first place?
I don't think I expected that, because I think on the show last Friday, I expected that Bouaka, it would probably be, I'm based on, I consider the crowd factor.
You predicted Bouaka and Cummings going to the second round.
I said an opposition will be going to the second round, whether it's Bouaka or Cummings.
You said
Weah
that.
was not going to win.
I remember that very well.
Yeah, Weah was not going to win.
Right.
But the thing about it now is the way things are trending, we have to be careful, because it's almost like Councillor Gonglo and Moneva we are not hearing anything about them, but do we attribute this factor to the fact that it's only 0.27%,
Mhm.
and that they haven't counted in their counties,
Yeah.
that they have some form of prominence? So those are the things we have to look at. It's like,
We saw a lot of tally sheets from NIMBA.
yeah,
And-
we did
Right.
see from Nima, and of course it's just Nima, but
Right. Let's use NIMBA and Gonglo, for instance, right?
Oh,
yes.
And why is it that we don't see Mr. Cummings? I mean, he has invested in NIMBA a lot since 2017.
Yeah,
So are you surprised how Mr. Cummings is doing?
I am.
Why?
I am
Why?
pretty surprised, but one of the things I spoke with someone today, and one of their concerns were they're very surprised as to what's happening and what they're seeing and the numbers they're seeing from Mr. Cummings. And I always, in my how many years of life, Liberians and first impression continues. When the Liberian people make a decision, that's my perception, it's difficult for them to change their mind. So it's almost showing now that same decision they made before is what is trending now. I didn't think that Mr. Cummings' numbers would be this low. I honestly did not think that, because I thought that from 2017 to now that there was a lot of work that he had done.
Right.
But with 0.27%, we're hearing Cummings supporters saying today that it's less than 1%. Let's wait. Maybe
Right.
there's hope. Maybe
No,
there's
I'm talking
There's hope.
I'm talking
There is hope.
Glendy, because if we go by what NEC put out, let's say 1%. If that trend continues, then we can get it for 100%. It will be 100 days. God forbid, right?
But you're
looking
comparing.
at the tally sheet-
I'm not a mathematician here, but you're
I
looking
am.
You're looking at 0.27% comparing it to 99. Why would that be 99 or 98%? That's a
Yep.
huge margin.
99.
No,
That's
why
not
I'm
even a
using the net
sample that
numbers.
we can look at.
I'm not using the net number, Glendy, and I'm going to push you very hard on this one because you've been quoting the
I
tally
see.
sheets. Now you are going to net number. So let's use the tally sheets. What is
Okay.
responsible for the poll showing? What do you think is responsible for the poll showing of Councillor Gonglo and Mr. Cummings?
I guess the people, I can probably say maybe the people feel that Baika should now be compensated. That the fact that he was VP and now maybe they want him to be the president. I don't know, Dennis. I'm also surprised at the numbers
Glendy,
that
you're very smart. You know these things and you don't want to tell me.
I think we can just attribute it to the recent. Maybe it's just those.
So
recent
I answered this question for you, Dennis, on Tough Talking Thursday. Do you remember what I said?
No.
So we were asking what we projected was going to happen on Thursday. And I said, I didn't know, but I know that most Liberians are registered with two political parties, and that's CDC and Unity Party. Liberians these political parties are much more institutionalized nationally than people realize. It's embedded in the social fabric of the country. Everywhere you go, you have registered Unity partisans, registered seditionists. And I've said this for years. I've said this to my friends in ANC for years. The majority of the people in the country are registered members of these two political parties. Plus the parties, you're cussing the citizens because they're registered card-carrying members. You go online and on air all day cussing Unity Party. Those market women are card-carrying members of the UP. Those market women are card-carrying members of the CDC. And you don't win votes, you don't win support by insulting the citizens that you want to vote for you. These political parties are institutions. You have to convince them as to why they should join your party. Not by cussing them, but by presenting yourself as a better option. That is where the failure was. And for the most part, Councillor Gonglo ran a pretty positive campaign, but it just was ineffective because of lack of resources. Towards the end, he joined the cussing party, which was shocking to me. You want to win votes. You want to gain momentum. You want to build a movement, not form a clique. This is something we have been saying to our friends ANC for years. You know, at one point I wanted to go join the movement for Councillor Gonglo. I went to a couple of meetings, and all I heard there was this vile disrespect of President Sirleaf, former President Sirleaf. And I said, well, I don't belong here. I hate Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, so I can't carry the broom. Because the broom is about cussing Ellen, I think she's the best president we had in a very long time. You know, so was she perfect? No. But I'm not going to support people that cuss in the room all day. And that's just a fact. A lot of Liberians were off-put by that. So you have to think about these things when you're supporting people. So I love Tiawan. He's like a mentor of mine, but it was off-putting, so I just took a step back. And after some time, you just start to look at everybody and say, oh, okay. As far as the ANC goes, I thought Charlene Brunson was a wonderful addition to ANC. I absolutely adore Charlene. I think she's an incredible person, has a bright future. Thought it was a great choice. A little late, but a great choice. And I'm glad she had the opportunity to showcase her talents and her gifts. Yeah. But again, the momentum of building an actual movement took second fiddle to forming a clique, and it's us against the world does not win elections.
Thank you.
Hey,
Mr. Lassa, I'm coming to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming to you there.
I wanted to speak to that.
Still continuing on Mr. Cummings and Councillor Gonglo. Of late, we saw Councillor Gonglo mentioned that his campaign was positive throughout. The last takedown of Bwaka, was it like a suicide, wearing a suicide vest? And somebody was telling me before the show that this is what probably cost him, although they were not expecting him to win.
No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
I know that clip. I don't agree.
I'm going to put the faith on this one, but I'm kidding. So James, give me your reason why you think based on
actually to my surprise, the councillor is not doing that well in Lima, but he is doing something. It's not that he's not doing anything. Tiawan, from the many tally sheets I saw, or the numbers I saw, he's pretty much around 28% in Lima. And even as bad as it is, I don't think it is all that bad. He came in the race late. If he asked me, I would tell you he will be my ideal candidate, to be frank. I know him, and I know him very well. I don't know, I met Bwaka only 2 times or so in my lifetime. I'm supporting Bwaka because I'm so hungry for somebody who can win Wia. Who can remove Wia. If Tiawan, who is somebody I know who is the most competent and deserving to be president, is over there and cannot give me assurance that he's going to win Wia, he's not going to get my vote. But he's getting about 28%. And that's a good question you asked, Dennis. Why is Cummings not getting something like this? I was surprised even in the Southeast. Wia is doing number 1, Bwaka follows before you hear Cummings. So that says something. But on the Cummings issue, to be frank, I have, for full disclosure, 2016, and so Cummings had invited a group of people in Atlanta, people who he thought could help him, advise him and other things. I was one of those. I got my ticket bought and hotel provided, everything with my friends and things from DC and Virginia. We went there. I met him, and I thought you were promising. After all, he wanted to see the way I went. He was student council president. I was. So we had some things in common. Things we didn't have in common was that he was a wealthy man in America. For all the time I've been here, for 30 years, I never heard him affiliate with any organization, no donation. People, group of family dying in Philadelphia. Poor man at me, I'm going there donating 500, 600. Rich man here, you don't hear his name. And I did make those observations, but they were not enough for me to dismiss him. And then I went to your house for the second time. We were having a meeting there. Ben Stanley was there that day. And that's a different story. Let me not bring that in. But I called him on the side and I told him what I really felt passionate about. I asked him how he felt about decentralization. I was telling him that the Imperial Liberian presidency has helped to carry the country backward. We need to decentralize and empower the local people. He looked in my face. I guess he didn't know me, or he didn't wait and just told me, very dismissive. Oh man, no man, they are not ready for that. People not ready for that. So they made that's the same Liberian Imperial Liberian presidency mentality he has. And then I heard him on BBC, somebody he was in Nigeria, and the BBC guy was
But
asking.
you are UP supporter now. This is not
No,
campaign.
I wasn't.
time.
I'm not a UP man. I'm
Let
not a
him.
UP
Let
man.
I got
But
a rebuttal
actually,
for him. Let him
Cummings is
go.
correct on the decentralization issue. Actually, I agree with him on it.
Correct.
Let him go.
Yeah. So
He's
I was,
100% correct on that.
So is that why his numbers are not? Is having a poll showing? Is it because of decentralization? What's your?
it drove me away. I believe it drove a lot
So
of.
that's you.
competent-
I'm talking about at the end of the voting, his numbers are not impressive like most of us thought. What
Yeah,
is responsible for that?
it comes to that. I feel that he does not even he did because he still does lack the ability to recruit the requisite talents, technical talents, political talents around him. He was hiring all novices that one way who never ran in any organization I know of to win anything. And I don't want to name other people, a whole lot of other people without any experience, nothing, putting them no proper advice, just the wrong recruitment. Apparently he wasn't probably comfortable with people who are competent in that area of politics and other things to advise him. So that really did damage him. Most of his people they lack political insight because they don't have any history of engagement with the community, nothing of the kind, and they gave him all the wrong pieces of advice. And I could have predicted that Cummings would have. In fact, I said on a show 2 days ago that he was going to either retain 7% or underperform greatly, and that's just about it. And lately I've been seeing a face for the past 2-3 weeks. I could really see a face that I think I was like, hey my God, that election day come and pass so that I can stop spending my money. I know I can't win this thing. I'm just spending my money every day. That's how I saw him. He was hungry and in a hurry for the election to come and pass. He knew he had already lost faith in his own prospect to win anything tangible in the process.
I would say you know how to take. I will give you that. You know how to take down a person, but I will come in at a later time. Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
I mean, that's the man's opinion. I don't think it's
I
personal.
know, that's what I'm saying.
It's a politician. It's a politician. He's giving his personal opinion.
I want to hear your response.
I see anything wrong. I don't think it was a personal tag. Dennis, let me just say something really quick before Gabriel comes in. This is some of the issue. You know, whenever people give constructive feedback about a politician, a person who is politically exposed on purpose, people take it personal, like they're talking about their ma or their pa. This is a politician, and this is constructive feedback from someone. If you agree with it or not, it's not personal. And I think that
I didn't say it was personal. I said it was a good takedown. I didn't say it was
hold on.
And-
You're going to comment. You said you were.
Yeah, but calling it a takedown, I think it personalizes it a bit. And I think, you know, just as a public policy or a political scientist, listening to the reasoning behind what James is saying is very important.
Right.
Those are words of a person, of a thinking person. Those are not the words of a blind follower or some, you know, person who's mesmerized or starstruck. This is someone that's giving a critical, you know, analysis of a person. And if you want to lead, these are the kind of people you should listen to. And you don't have to take everything they say, but you must listen. And what I've seen, just to kind of buttress what James is saying, I agree. You surround yourself with people who are angry at the world and distrustful of everyone else, suspicious of everyone else, and they kept a lot of decent people away from Cummings on purpose. They formed this little clique around the man, and the airtight clique wouldn't allow anything in except what they thought and their novice ideas and their anger and their vile hatred for Unity Party, their vile hatred for whatever, you know. And so that's what the public saw, and it's unfortunate. But James, as far as his position on decentralization, when people talk about decentralization, Mr. Cummings, I've heard him talk about this a bit, and I do agree with him. Power and authority should be consolidated, as they're doing all over the world. It's only in Africa that you see these international people pushing, you know, this booga backward decentralization of power thing. Resources must be decentralized. We have a representative government. The citizens must be educated. So resources need things, but the citizens need to be empowered. Power needs to be consolidated and centralized in order for it to be effective. You see everyone else forming conglomerates, the European Union. Only Africa is being encouraged to break itself into little pieces and little tribal little cliques and backwardness. We have to really think about this as young people, about how we're going to really frame our own future.
Thank you.
Decentralization is the polar opposite of what the rest of the world is doing, which is consolidating power.
I think
Resource decentralization is different.
I don't quite agree with her though,
We're
Dennis.
going to plan a
You don't have to agree with me, and I know you don't, because they've been brainwashing Africans with this decentralization, and that's why they're centralizing.
I don't want us to go into decentralization.
But I agree with Mr. Cummings. It's future thinking to look at. It's not about having an imperial presidency. It's about having a functioning government that decentralizes resources.
That's a separate show. I want Gabriel to respond. Gabriel, you are only saying wow. I want your take.
Yeah, and thank you, James. I would say thank you as well. When I said was it takedown, it didn't. I didn't want people to see it as if it was personal. He did this. He did the same takedown with Mr. Gonglo. It's a good takedown. Takedown meaning like you give your step by step, very detailed analysis of the either advantages that you saw in the person or the disadvantages. That's what a good takedown is, and he was detailed in saying that. So
Okay.
I applaud you on that. From my perspective, as I said, I support Mr. Cummings and his ambition to become president of Liberia. I did that solely on two factors. One, I believe that he is the person well positioned to be able to not just become another checkbook handler, to write checks in the government, but someone who is able to elevate Liberia to be a competitive country regionally and, God help us, globally. That's what I believe. Now, that's one. The second thing is, I believe he was going to build a country where, for once in the history of that country, where every Liberian will have the ability to self-actualize and not just depend on people and not depend on the government to do everything. That's the kind of, that's the reason why I supported him. Now, I understand some of your sentiment about the party, the ANC, and some characters within the ANC. I do agree. For me, as I like to tell people, I'm from the bush. I don't beat around the bush. So I tell people exactly how it is, right? So I share that same sentiment that you guys shared. There are some people within the ANC who are like that. Some of us within that, who support Mr. Cummings do get that level of feedback as well, that level of, butting head with them. So I agree with that. That is okay. And that is, he has a saying that he always say, you're protecting the pepper bush, but there's no pepper in the bush to protect, right? Like you're protecting something, but you don't really have the requisite skill set to even be able to protect that. And some of those things that you guys are saying, some of the characters, that's who they are. And that is okay. We're humans, we're territorial. If you want to compete, you got to compete to get in. So I understand that from that perspective. What I wanted to say is, in addition to my support for him, that was from what I've seen on the outside, right? And also what I read about him. There's a book.
What did the voters say?
Right now, I will get to that point. That was what I read about him. I sat with him, met him twice, similar to James, on a meet and greet, right? And I sat with him in a policy meeting, and he further confirms his ideas for the country and how he was going to bring it to reality. So by being with him in our meeting actually affirms my belief of why I supported him. Right now, in terms of how you articulate those ideas and execute them and get the people around to execute them, yeah, we fell short of that, and that is being seen within the voting. We have to admit that. Well, you fail, you got to fail. The first thing you got to do is to admit that we failed miserably, right? Given the current trend that we're seeing right now, right? If the whole steady, all else being equal, we won't be part of the conversation. I accept that. Now, there's also that, percentage that all the the votes have not been counted yet, so we can leave that. But if everything else stays steady as they are, we will fail. And I agree to that. That is something I believe we need to go back to the drawing board to figure out. Some of this criticism that you guys are giving are valid, in as much that we might want to sit back here and say, oh, these are not valid. I know people talk to me about them. For me, I'm not that confrontational type, so I don't, feed into that. But those are valid. If we do want to attract people to be the inclusive party that bring people, that involves every Liberian, like he, brings certain people around, we have to be accepting and be tolerant of people. And we have to be able to compete on a healthy level. Now, I see Cole coming because I know Cole is smarter than me. So I doing everything to keep Cole around, right? Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to compete with her. If she knows what I know, matter of fact, that will allow me to even step my game up to compete with her. If she out compete me, so be it. I will work hard. That's the level of competition that we expected to see around, right? But we don't have that. So we fail. And I understand that. We'll go back to the drawing board. But I still believe, without a doubt, even as the number stands right now, I still believe that Mr. Cummings is de facto the best candidate for Liberia. And he would have elevated Liberia to not just to compete regionally, but to compete globally, and where every Liberian would have had a stake in that country. I still believe that, despite everything you guys have said.
If things stand as they are now, will you say the Liberians voted right?
I still believe that we repeated 2017, the same mistake we made. Like Jim just said it, and when he said it, I said, "Wow." He said the only reason why he's voting for Mr. Boycott is because he just want we are out. That's the same sentiment. Like when I say I talk to people, they tell me the same thing. Oh, let's Mr. Cummings wait now. We know he's the right person, but let him wait for 2029. Like, do you understand that level of logic? So
in my case, Tiawan is the best person.
Okay, we'll get to that point. we'll get to that point, right? So that's the logic.
So Glendy has, as it stands now, people are saying, hey, we were expecting, a fight from the other candidates, but the way it has become a two-horse race, this thing can go either way in the first round. Do you think so? So it can be either we have first round victory or Boycott first round victory, because Mr. Cummings and Councillor Gonglo, and also we should add Maniba, are not putting up the fight that we're expecting them to put up.
Well, I think either way is true. It can go either way, or it could go in the boycott scam. I think what needs to happen is Liberians need to recognize and realize that they do not want another 6 years with George Weah. And if that's what they don't want, then the opposition camp will have to come together. If the opposition camp don't come together, then we're probably looking at either a 6 years for Weah.
Yeah, I'm talking about first round. Then opposition camp doesn't have to.
Oh, first round.
Yeah, is somebody going to win first round?
I'm still holding my position that there's going to be a runoff.
But I mean, how so?
You only have 0.27%, Dennis.
No, we're talking about Tallahassee. You love Tallahassee. You say you have all the Tallahassee.
I do. I have them.
So
I
based
have
on the
that, and
Tallahassee,
from what
the
I
rest of
have,
the candidates are at a
So hold on, Glendy. Remember for second round, they only need 50 plus 1.
yes.
One party needs, or one candidate, one presidential candidate only needs to have 50 plus 1, and there's no second round.
Which is
Just
true,
keep
but
that in mind with the Tallahassee.
Well, from what I have seen, I don't think we're up to that 50 plus 1 yet for one person.
And Dennis, I have to say that I don't think the numbers we have now are in fair representation of what the outcome is.
Not.
Especially for the lower tier of candidates. I think Cummings is going to still come between his 7 and 5%. Tiawan Gonglo about 3 to 5%. Clarence probably 1 or less, and that will be it. Those will be the main candidates, and then there will be a wide distance between them and Weah and Boycott. And I think the trend now is that Boycott is leading 60%. I have looked at the numbers in Midnight. Right now, 60%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
On the next result. That result, what you have there? What you have there is 60%.
Oh, I mean, if we go by next result, we have 100 days to get 100.
Yeah, but I'm just referring to that. and in agreement with that, I think that is going to moderate and
So here's my prediction, Dennis. And here's why.
I think Baka is going to win on the first ballot by around 53-56%. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go to. I based on what I've seen with tally sheets, and I've really only studied the tally sheets from NIMBA, not from Monserrato. But if NIMBA is representative of what's going to happen in Monserrato, and just those two counties alone, JMB got far more than 50 plus 1 in NIMBA, far more. Based on the tally sheets. Based on the tally sheets, and that's what I did all day today. I was looking at these tally sheets and freaking out, like, how did this happen? You know, they were not even kind to Cummings in Musa Bilitis district in Secretary. They voted for Musa and then voted for Boyka. So it's crazy if you look at the tally sheets. So anyway, based on that, like I said, I haven't seen tally sheets in all the counties. I'm only going off of what I've seen in NIMBA. If that holds true, the reason there's more likely of a chance of a one-round victory in this race is because we don't have the kind of numbers coming in from the other opposition candidates like we did in 2017 or 2011 or 2005. 2005, we had numbers coming in for Brumskin and others. Bonnie Sherman was getting stronger numbers. You got Prince Johnson, coming in first round with numbers in 2011, again in 2017. PYJ had numbers, you had Brumskin, you had, even with Cummings and everyone pulled together, it wasn't possible for a single candidate to get 50.1. But the other opposition candidates are doing so poorly, it's almost as if the citizens are like, you know what, we want to get rid of WIA so bad, we don't even want to risk a second round. So even though they love other candidates, they're like, I can't vote for you, Councilor Gongo, I can't vote for you, Moniva, because we got to get rid of this man. So everyone's pooling their votes in one direction, even if they would have otherwise voted for Cummings or Councilor Gongo. They don't want to be spoilers. People, I've heard people, I mean, this is not scientific, but even in my own family, I'm voting for Boyka. Why are you voting for Boyka? Because we got to get rid of WIA. I ain't got to vote to waste on so-and-so. I'm not going to name the person. I said, wow, you don't have vote to waste? I said, well, you vote your conscience. If it goes to second round, everybody, no, we're not going to no second round. So people are not thinking the way they were thinking in 2017.
Thank you.
So I have a question for you guys. What percentage does NIMBA and Monserrato make of the overall registered voters? Because if that is the case, if those two counties combine,
I didn't look at Monserrato, I only look at NIMBA.
And say, if those two come out fully, you can predict that easily.
We have the numbers, right, for registered voters. Monserrato is 901,000. And you see NIMBA, 307,000.
Give me 1 second. 901,000 plus
307.
Yeah, both of them are more than 50% of the total.
Yeah, it was 1.2.
Yeah, so it's roughly half, exactly.
More than half, far more than half.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not too far out. It's a stretch margin. So
no.
And now, if in the Southeast, 5 counties, all the 5 counties of the Southeast equal NIMBA.
Correct. So
that's what I'm saying. Then it doesn't make us. You can't if two. So what?
And then I think Cummings might do well in Bassa, especially because they love Charlene so much there. But you're talking about 50% of the voters. You're getting more than half of 50%. If that person wins the majority in NIMBA and LOFA, wins only 40% or 30% in some of the other counties, that's it. One round.
That's it.
yeah.
So here's what I'm trying to say.
Let
me finish my thought. Here's what I'm trying to say here, based on pure number that we just look at. If what you guys are saying, we just look at the two counties, the number from the two counties, right? If those two counties, even if somebody win those two counties, right, because of the percentage of how low it is, close to 50, you cannot say that individual is going to win. There's a whole lot more. Now, if those two counties,
you have Bong,
Right.
you have
right,
Nagiri.
that's what I'm saying. If those two counties made of, let's say 60% or 70%, then you can easily conclude that, but it's too far to the bottom to
Thank you.
50%. Right.
So if what we are looking at, if we all agree, or based on the numbers, that this is Boakai or Weah, what are the voters telling us? For if they vote Boakai, for instance, as president, what does it
Protest.
mean if the voters vote Weah as president?
Protest vote.
That's it.
We
I
are
don't think
protest.
I don't
No,
think
no, no.
that's what
Voting against where it's a protest of the citizens against a leader who they don't think should be there. They want him.
Yeah.
And what's the opposite?
If he
Weah-
wins,
if Weah wins,
I think the only way the possibility for we have to win is through some fraudulent means at this point.
But-
By the way, I have to say that I am from Bond County. My senator is the national campaign chairman of the UP for Bond County, and he today congratulated his citizens for helping him to win Bond County. My information is that 5 of the 7 districts voted for Boakai there. So Mr. Formula is certainly making some very cogent arguments in terms of the early.
what I was saying is, if Weah wins, does it, and the people are saying we are staying the course, we're happy with what he's doing, and we're giving him 6
and-
more years to complete what he started.
if Weah wins, it's just the people's, maybe the like we usually say in wartime, you don't change general in the middle of a war. The economy is doing bad right now. Maybe they're just saying, hey, we'd rather stick with this guy and give him a second round. But if Mr. Boakai end up winning, that is, I think it's a protest vote, more like, instead of what I initially said, that, hey, did we see this person is going to really transform the country for everybody? It's just a protest vote, like, this guy's doing so bad, we want him out, that anything or anybody would do. Yeah.
Actually, Dennis, you can look at it this way. If we are wins, I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm saying if we are wins, that might certainly align with another scenario, which you could call perks politics. That is, people are voting for their bellies by the back arrest again, the cars that he gives to the paramount chiefs and the clan chiefs, and part of that. That means, and even though I know that people are suffering, and that is certainly true to an extent, I don't think that is a driving or warming force that is going to push the people to vote. But that is one reason under which, or for which, we have to win, if not by cheating.
We are campaigning effectively, though.
That we'll have to define effective if we
Thank
want to
you.
get into
What
that.
is effective?
Well, he went across the country. He was
And said
consistent-
what? And what
He
did
was,
he say?
yeah, I'm coming. He was consistent with his message. He knew Boakai was his biggest rival, so he attacked him wherever he went, and he was very consistent with that, and he was on message.
He said he didn't build roads because it was raining. I don't know how effective that message was, especially speaking to Southeasterners.
And the Southeasterners now vote based on what we're saying. They're voting for him in the numbers.
And for obvious reason, for natural inclination of affiliation.
Well, I mean, he said, well, the only reason I didn't do this is because of the rain. And if you give me 6 more years, I will finish it. And I've spoken to people who say, oh, he will do it for us in the next 6 years.
The tragedy of democracy is sometimes you end up being led by the majority, which is that doesn't mean the majority know the best for the rest of the even including the minority in the country. And I think that's the tragedy that we're seeing right now. Yes, the majority are making the decision right now, but is that the best decision? I doubt that. Whether we go with Weah or Boakai, I absolutely doubt that. Liberia is not going anywhere. That's just my take on that. That country is not going anywhere.
What does that mean?
When I mean, so maybe you guys might think again, hey, this is because he's coming from the communist camp. I don't think, like, the way I saw.
And let me add to that, because what we are hearing from the communist side is a better Weah wins. Right?
No,
Let's throw the baby away with the bathwater.
No, for me, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm hearing
For
it
me,
from people who support coming.
yeah, I think that is the ill logic. The way I look at it is that I wanted somebody there who will bring the country. Like, right now, we're still in the bush. Like, I always like to use the analogy. You have being in the bush with cutlass in your hand. Either that, or you're on a payroll, or somebody take you from the payroll to an asphalt road where you're cruising. Right now, we are still in the bush, right? And for the reason why I support the company, I believe that he could have taken us from that and put us even on the dirt road where everybody, is driving. Yeah, you are bumping here and there. There's potholes, but you're figuring your way out, right? But where we are right now, this is a protest, or hey, I'm sticking with the devil that I know. It's not somebody saying, hey, I'm looking at Sierra Leone, I'm looking at Ghana, I'm looking at Guinea, I'm looking at these countries around me. I want somebody in this coming to power who can take us there, or at least put us on a trajectory that we can start going there, and the next person can come and bring us to that level. No, that's not what
Seriously,
we're looking at
Gabriel,
right now.
you think Sierra Leone and Ghana and Guinea are these? Especially, you think these are leaders that we need, that we should aspire
We
It's
to?
not about.
I don't think
I,
so.
no, no, no,
I
no,
mean,
no. I
come
was
on,
just saying.
brother. I
Let me say this. Let me
So,
finish. Let me finish.
Gabriel, let me announce my numbers. Let me announce the calling number.
that don't know yeah, you whine like, bro.
If you want to take part in this competition, please
Let me land. Dennis, let me
Hold on,
land you.
Gabriel, you're going to land. Call Brother Trouble. So let me announce the calling numbers. There are people waiting to participate.
Sorry,
in the
Gabriel,
discussion.
but
I have one more
It's okay.
question to ask, and then we'll be bringing our callers. The number is on the screen: 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403 pound.
Let me say.
Glenn,
I will say this.
because you are saying if
Yeah, I will say
we
this
are
quickly, and
finished.
I'll be quiet.
Hmm.
You guys don't think it's not. Sometimes it's not about the leader, but what the country is doing, right? How advancing that they are. We were at a level with Sierra Leone. They are leaving us behind, and I say that with every conviction within me. I was just there in 2022 last year. I didn't just fly there. I drove from Central Monrovia by road to Freetown. I went through Bummy and I think Grand Cape Mount. Certain part in Bummy, you when you get to that, you got to move on the side of the road, the other car part before you start going.
but
Even
the
right
Sierra
to the
Leone
point.
side is worse.
No, like from
All right.
Bowater
I
side.
don't want us to go there.
No, no, no.
I don't
Let me
want
say
us
this.
to
From
veer off.
Bowater side to Freetown, you can do 80 miles per hour on the people freeway.
What? Since when?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't want us to go through that
How you
comparison.
got to Bow though? I mean, from Bow, but how you got to Bow? When you cross it before you get to Zimmy, you driving in a forest with a bunch of jungle roads. What are you
That's my
talking
last
about?
question. I don't want us to
How
go
you got
into
to Bow from like,
and Bum
bro?
County.
You
You
flew?
go through Bummy and Grand Cape
Yeah,
Mount to get to
Gabriel, I
Bow.
don't want us
When
to go
you
through
when
it.
you cross the border, you gotta pass through Zimmy. You either take the ferry or you go up through Kenema through the Gola Forest. The
No,
road
it's
is bad until you reach Kenema,
no.
or until you cross with the ferry and
Oh.
get to Boa, and I make that
I
real clear.
I drove there. I
Oh.
drove there by
Hold on,
car.
Gabriel, I don't want the Sierra Leone Labrador argument. Is
I drove
My,
last
my,
year.
my, the
Let's come back
road
to-
is
let's come back
horrible
to
until
our
you get to
question here.
either Kenema or Bow
I
in
drove
Sierra
there
Leone.
by car
And
last
Bow
year.
is not at the border. Bow
All
is
right.
way up inside Sierra
No,
Leone.
oh, that is not. This argument is not necessary right now.
I was just there
Let's
last year.
leave-
So you're telling me I don't know where
I'm
I was.
asking you if you were sleeping in the jungle before you reached Bow. How you
No.
got to Bow? You crossed in the ferry or you went through
expect?
Kenema?
I
What
went
do we
through
expect under a
Bummy and Bum
Bwakai
County.
or WIA
Bummy and
administration? If it is WIA or a Bwakai, what do we expect? I want us to discuss that question, and then we can bring in our colors. If Bwakai wins, Glendy, what do we expect?
I would hope that we expect a change from what we have now.
So
As
Glendy,
it
just
relates-
tell me what we expect, not what you hope.
But I'm answering your question.
Yeah, you said
We
you hope.
expect a change from the WIA government. We expect that the government will be concerned about its citizens. We
Okay.
expect that there will be punitive measures so people who are corrupt. We expect that the Boycott government will be able to audit the WIA government. When we're looking for change, yes, people, there are a lot of people that are saying Boycott is the same old UP before, whatever the connotations may be. If Boycott is trying to ensure that he's different and he's giving the people of Liberia the change that they're looking for, those are the things that we will expect. That whatever that Liberians will not be spectators anymore in their own country, that they will have equal opportunity to jobs and other forms of projects.
On the flip side, what do we expect from if we are second term, if that happens?
Nothing.
Gabriel?
Same old. There's really nothing he's gonna have to prove. The fact that he was there 6 years, he, in my opinion, he really didn't do anything, and we're giving him an additional 6 years. It's almost like Donald Trump saying, even if the people were to, whatever he said, they're not going to do anything to me.
Fifth Avenue.
That Weah was there 6 years. We see that he's done nothing. Poverty rate, everything is up, and we still go and we award him another 6 years, and then we are going to have expectations of him doing something different. I don't think he's going to be even motivated to wanting to do anything. It'll be like a gift to him. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gabriel, what do you think? Weah or Boakai?
If I had to choose,
No, what do we expect if Weah wins?
Oh.
What do we expect if Boakai wins?
well, I would start with the incumbent. I think if he wins, if he gets reelected, I believe. I don't even want to think for him. It will be a mandate that he's being trusted again. And if he was somebody serious who understood the kind of power he has in terms of his influence for playing soccer, it will now allow him to do something different. To be a better president, to govern a country that is more inclusive, way void of all the extrajudicial killings. So if he wins the second term, that is something that I would expect of him. That this is now.
What's about Boakai?
And that probably goes to the question.
It's okay. It's okay to say your mind. Go ahead.
And that goes to the question. That goes to the question that who would you rather? It's like in our culture we venerate old people, right? And that is okay. But I don't think the old man has it. I'm sorry.
So what do you expect from him when he's president?
If you win, it would just be like a replacement of this current administration that we has. It's just a replacement version of it. There is nothing, and it is not anything against him. It's the same thing that you guys said is the people that he has around him and his. Like, I don't think he has the ability to transform Liberia from what it is. To dig out. I don't think you guys understand the economic hole that we're in. To dig out of that.
You can assume that. Let me go to call quickly before bringing our callers. What to expect under Weah or Boakai?
Of course, you don't want to leave me.
I think if Weah gets a second term, he will continue his lack of policies, and he'll continue his cronyism and he'll keep his friends there. Nothing will change. Things will probably get worse. I think with JMB, I don't really see that JMB is the kind of visionary I would like to see in power. I was not impressed, and I've been candid about this with any of these candidates. I think there are far better Liberians that could have run for president, but they were suppressed by the major parties, but that's a different discussion. So, but I do believe JMB is intelligent enough to know what competence looks like. Mm-hmm. And I think JMB he has enough of a mind that he would be willing to work with people that are interested in actually transforming the country. He's definitely, I worked with him when he was vice president. He listens, he's open-minded. And he knows what he doesn't know, and he's approachable. And there's a lot of positives about having a leader like that, because people who do want to do something positive will be given that opportunity. He believes in empowering youth. These are true things that I'm saying. Now, the legislature is the biggest problem in the country. And I think any president is going to struggle to try to transform the country with the kind of people, BM boys and stuff, that we keep promoting into the House and Senate. So that's a different issue.
Dennis?
Thank you. I'm saving you for last. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, well,
he was gasping for air.
No, I just want to say that there is lot to be accrued from the presidency of Joseph Boakai. Even as I have said, he may not be my favorite candidate. I am as ever happy that among all the candidates, that there was one man who could give me a solid assurance of getting that boy out of that place. Our president, let me be respectful,
Please.
deferential say. But beyond that, he can bring a lot. You just need to look around Boakai and look around Weah. Today I saw pictures of Boakai and Kofi Woods. Oh, I know Kofi Woods very well. I know him. I know what he means. And he is a buddy. I met Boakai in the place there. Kofi Woods was very high on the agenda to be his running mate. I know there is a Larry. And those guys, I was on campus with them. When we were on campus, we were trained. The notion of material wealth accumulation is something we disdain to this day. That's why we are poor. We don't have money to run. You have a Larry. I believe someone will come on board. But you have
message.
Yeah, the lives of Kofi Woods and Alaric. Correct. So we're looking at complete the rule of law, and the pursuit of justice, so that this culture of impunity can come to some halt or to some diminishing point. Boakai can do that. That's not big for him. He was FPMC managing director when my grandfather was working there. I have to say, I used to go there often to my grandfather for recess money and thing, and that place was very clean and very efficient. And when my grandfather died those days, they gave him, there was a gold, before he died, they gave him a gold ring to honor him for his hard work. And LPMC were productive. So I expect that under Boakai will have the rule of law, will have security in the country. I heard when the Spoon and others raised more than $200,000 US within days for the pool washers. And I heard an old lady calling and almost crying. We want to go home. But the security, we are afraid. I think Boakai will not do selective justice like we are doing to say, oh, we are all one people. I can't carry the put a coat. But when he serves his interest, then he'll go after Brownie Samukai. Boakai is not going to do that. He has a record. At least Boakai is as old and very long-term, with very long-term experience. There is no record.
You're getting some compliment here, Mr. Lassa.
Well, I'm making an assessment. I'm just telling you what the difference is.
No, I said someone is giving me some compliment here.
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. So,
then,
yeah,
but the last 30 seconds, let's talk about Weah. Under Weah, what do we expect? Because
under Weah, it would be very dangerous. I got a friend who says if things wouldn't go right, he would just come here and seek to be a millionaire. I probably may follow your example because I'll be so scared to go to that country. Mob justice, where they can take rock and chunk you in the street and keep on hitting you with it. And two Madiwa boys can be killed right there. Where if I go to visit my brother-in-law in Duporo, I have to make sure to be in the house by 4:30 because I don't want to be walking. And even when nobody knows me, as soon as they say roll, and that's a death sentence. Oh my God, you'll be telling Weah you are right. You'll be emboldened to do worse as he have done, to leave the country for almost 2 months, spend the Liberian poor money to go see his son playing football. That's what we're going to be having here, and bring drugs. Oh, of course, a lot. It's just unimaginable. It'll be a miserable experience to have.
That's the voice of former TLA member James Lassa.
James still campaigning.
I know, right?
Seriously, campaign's over, my man.
We will take a 30-second break and be right back and bring in our calls.
God gave us this country.
God gave us this country. If you heard that song and there's no goosebump, then something. All right, let me bring on our callers. Again, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our post-elections analysis and update. Our first caller here is Mr. Tubman.
Hey, Dennis. Hello, am I on?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. 1 minute. Thank you for calling.
Thank Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. I want to say thanks to your panelists up there. But Dennis, one thing I want to ask you, when you're having a discussion like this, please try to bring someone from the government side, please.
They don't want common, man.
That's the issue.
Well, yeah, but I mean, reach out. There are a lot of people who want to come.
No. Just
So
if you have
reach out.
one, just pass them over to
Okay.
me. We've tried.
Yourself.
I can do that too.
Yes.
You reach out to me. But
Okay.
anyway, let me get to my point. I get 1 minute. I've been listening to the panelists for 2 hours, almost 2 hours. Please, I got 1 minute. Wherever I say, please don't interrupt me. Let me see what I got to say. I know you can come after me and then buttress.
As long as that you don't cross anybody like you did the last time, we'll be fine.
No.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
can cuss
Your
me,
1
what are you
minute.
giving a disclaimer for?
All right, let me get to the point. Mr. Lassa, you just said that all you want is to get the president out. So that is clear. You support blackout because you don't want George Weah, period. So everything else you said, it was just because you don't want George Weah. That's why you said that. Okay, but let me get my point here is, I want to commend our people, for voting peacefully, and the government. We commend the government for conducting a peaceful election. But I would caution every one of us to please let us wait for the election commission. I know we have different tally sheets and all of that. We don't want to come up with prediction here that we're doing, these people win 50% and all of that stuff and things. I mean, that has the propensity of, giving false impression back home, and we know here, even during the United States, the election here in the States, at certain time, President Trump was leading when the stronghold started to come in, he was leading the election, and then later on things changed. We know that how elections run, that how results come in, bit by pieces. So if we sit here and start to criticize the NSC because we feel that, they're holding on to certain things, we're speculating, or they want to cheat, the government has certain influence over them. All these things are not necessary. They are not necessary. Let us hold our peace. Let us hold our peace and wait for the final results. They said, they came up with a date. Like last I said, I will agree with you on that point. You can project, say, listen, at certain time, I will give the final result, but they might get the result before that time. So please, let us hold our peace.
Thank you.
I know that all of you panelists over there, they don't like the government. We understand that. But please, the election was conducted free and fairly. Let us hold our peace and wait for the final result for anything. So, Mr. Coleman, let me make a point to Mr.
Yeah,
Coleman.
please. You're over 1 minute, so conclude.
Yeah, let me make a point. If my problem I have with Mr. Coleman will have been a very good candidate. Will make a very good president. But if you look at Mr. Coleman is making a terrible mistake. Look at Omer Barker. Omer Barker, besides being vice president, Omer Barker has served his country. He served that country for many years in different positions. You understand? If you look at President Weah today, President Weah has served that country in different capacities. You see? Gomez was stepped down a little bit. He lives in the corporate world. The Labyrinth people don't really know him. Step down a little bit. Go down for a legislative seat. Fight to get, build yourself on that level.
Thank you.
And then come to run for the presidency. But you can't just come from the corporate world and you want to be the head of this country. It doesn't work like that.
Thank you.
Mr. Gongo, I met him one time.
No, Thelma, please. Let me take another caller.
All right, Dennis. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Evans Morris, you're live.
Thank you, Mr. John, and hello to the panelists. Look, what a time to be alive. It's a wonderful time to see our democracy actually in action, so to speak. And I want to say this, I'm purposely staying away from the tally sheets and, self-counting. But I have a question for I think Ms. Carl or the other gentleman, Mr. James. And when you say that you tabulated the tally sheets from NIMBA, we want to get the formal number in terms of the thousands of votes, that you counted. Because if you say Joseph Boakai is winning over 50%, what's the actual number, if you can be precise? Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, we don't know the numbers from Mark Eby. We don't know the numbers from Bassa. We don't know the numbers here from Bong. So if people are making this assertion that JMB is well in the lead from 3 counties, accounting for less than 1% of the vote, and I understand that that's from the official net number, but those of you who are doing tabulations from the tally sheets, give us the full numbers that you've tabulated so far so we can know where it actually stands, not just by saying that Joseph Boakai is up 50% in Nimba, and the other guy said Joseph Boakai won 5 of the 7 polling stations in Bong. What are the actual numbers? Are they just word of mouth? We want to understand it. But for me, I'm happy. Really, the president, we are lose these elections. It's a good thing for our democracy.
Thank you.
It shows that the people can change their mind. Right. But if Joseph Boakai wins this election, it's a great thing for the country. And I hope that whoever wins will incorporate communists or Congolo to help run this country and make the country better. But please let us not share any unofficial numbers.
Thank you, Everett. That's very normal for people to give unofficial results. So our case is not different. But thank you for the call. Let me bring in Aliyu Kamara. Aliyu, you're live.
Hey, Dennis. Thank you for bringing me on. Can you extend my greetings to the woman I got crushed on Glen Beach?
I knew he was coming. Hello, Aliyu.
Yeah, you come here, Marky.
Hey, everywhere you put a hook, you can catch me.
Oh my God!
I swear.
I'm gonna get you come and get on the show.
Yeah, that's
Aliyu, you have 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I know you're jealous, but I will go ahead.
He's a funny kid.
Listen, CEO. This is the thing that amazes me about the Ellis Cummings people. If Ellis Cummings is not elected, everybody else that will be elected, they are unqualified. They are incapable of bringing the changes that the Liberian people are yearning for. Look, let me just sit on record by saying this. Alexander Benedict Cummings will never be president of Liberia. It's not because he's not Liberian, but he's not elected.
Aliyu, stop those kind of statements, man. You know better than that. You can predict any future. Go ahead with your point.
I know better than that. That's why I'm saying this. Yeah. Maybe you want me to double down.
Never. You can never say never, my man. Like, come on, that's immature. Make your comment.
Okay, that's a common man speaking. Let me give you one scenario here quick. When this committee started, I was one of the people that they called to a virtual meeting. A few people at a time.
So these are all.
So we went to this meeting. This guy, they spoke everything when it was my time to speak. Then before I even opened my mouth, 2 people volunteered to interpret the English for me, what the topic was actually about. I've been sitting here for 40 minutes, and you're trying to interpret to me? I felt so insulted. I took a little rock, I turned it around my head and threw it behind my back. I said, these people, I will fight them to the core. But let me tell you this.
Wow.
And that behavior has been exemplified since Cummings moved to Liberia. Their behavior over there is nothing but this imperial mindset. And let me just tell you this for the record. Like somebody said on the show, the results are in and they are tabulated. They're on tally sheets. They're all in. One country, all of them got the results are finally coming in. We have Bapolo, we have Kipman, we have Bomi, they have come in. All of Lufa County hasn't come in yet, but the indications are very clear. This is a one-round thing, whether they like to hear or not. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let me bring in Mr. Flomo Livingstone.
Yeah, great show today. Thanks to the panelists. For me, this election, I want to congratulate the Liberian people. The turnout is massive, and they were vigilant. They see any suspicious, they alarm it. That was good. for me, any election, the more turnout is against the ruling government. For example, in 2020 in the United States, we saw that the amount of people that show up to vote, and the election will be a one-round victory for JMB because he is qualified to rule the country, and he's a man of peace. But George Weah, for me, if George Weah win again, it will be even worse because the man is lack leadership ability, no form of leadership. Anywhere that guy goes, nothing good come from that. So what I'm saying is the LeBron pool have mirrored our mind, and what I'm sensing, Dennis, is they 20 parties and thing, it will end up coming down to 2 party system in Liberia, 2 or 3 probably. From what I'm sensing from 2017, let me just say from 2005 up to 2023, it's the 2 most United Party and CDC. So for me, it's a good thing. Because the population of about 5.2 million people, and you get about 20 people want to be president. No, that's not good for our democracy. For me, I think we should have like 2 or 3. But I mean, the electors are showing it to us. And the tally sheets are there. People say, let's wait for the NET. Yes, we'll wait for the NET, but she cannot announce number that is contrary to what we have on the tally sheet.
Thank you.
On the tally sheet. So people keep saying, let's wait for the end. Yeah, we'll wait for the NET, but the season we'll all get our tally sheet.
Thank you.
Time. So she cannot announce different number contrary to what all the political party have. Thanks.
Thank you. Let me bring in, I got 2 JMB in a row. Let me bring in Mr. Michael Patmo, who is from ANC.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dennis. For all this sedition before me, people just talk all kinds of
that's
stuff.
that's the time you call in.
But let me make a few points here before I get off. The first thing, let me answer those 2 questions that really stuck out that you asked. The first one was concerning the numbers. What happened to Gonglo and Cummings as you've seen it so far? And the answer is very simple, Dennis. People want to win. And people want to move Weah. Unity Party was able to convince a majority of Liberians that they were in the position, they had the numbers to remove Weah. I believe as it was James said it, he answered the question, well, even knowing he answered the question, and that was the garnering momentum. Most people are not voting for Boyka because they feel he can change the country or a policy position. Most of them don't even know what Boyka policy position is, but they believe that he has the number. Yeah, there you go. He has the number. Your other question was concerning what kind of government can we expect from Weah for Boyka? When it comes to Weah, it's just more of the same, the outright stealing over the meager funds that are available, underappreciated and very mediocre development, like football stadium and those kind of things, little roads here and there. That's what you expect from a second term of Weah. When it comes to Boyka, a lot of my UP friends that I've spoken to, they hearken to the days of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Unfortunately, if Boyka is to win, it's not going to be the days of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. People have to realize Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is a force unto herself. That is a lady that can walk into any boardroom, into the midst of international leaders, and sway their thinking.
Right.
Boyka doesn't have that under his belt. Money is not going to be flowing into that country like it was during Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's time.
Preach, my man.
They're going to be stuck with domestic revenue, and domestic revenue cannot move the country forward.
Thank you.
We're going to need development from the international community. We're going to need foreign investment, which we cannot get with the broken infrastructure that we have.
Thank you.
So when it comes to the Boyka government, there will be one last thing, there will be that, what I like to call legal corruption. UP is very good at that. They don't stay like a CDC. What they do is they increase salaries, they give us over contracts to their friends and relatives, and you see the paper trail, and they can justify the paper trail. But that is how things are going to go. You will see houses being built.
Thank you, Michael.
Cars being driven. Yep, and that's how it's going to go. But thank you so much for the program.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. That was brilliant.
Oh, Gabriel, wait, man. Our last caller here is Thomas Kane. Thomas, go ahead. You're live.
Thank you, Dennis, and good evening to everyone. I just wanted to share something that is really surprising, and I don't know if we are all picking it up. For many years, CDC has been a party of breaking laws. They don't respect the Constitution. Even when we are won to replace himself, that position that he was in, he never had that election on time. Samuel Tuwe said they didn't have money. But we certainly come at the point where the CDC has realized that there is a constitutional body that is caught with the responsibility to announce election results. And they are the one telling us to wait. They are pressing everyone, wait for NEC, don't do anything. This CDC that can run ahead of everything. So I think it's really interesting. We will have to wait and see what the results are going to be. But for the fact that the CDC is saying that we should wait for NEC, I don't think things are going to be very good for them. On the last caller, with all of the issues that he listed, there will be no money flowing into Liberia. We all do understand that there will be no money flowing into Liberia as compared to the time our civil war ended. This is where you have to improve governance to be able to attract investment and to be able to attract aid. There is still money in the international community that you can attract. And I think the UP has been very clear on improving efficiency in the public sector. If you look at their platform, they highlighted the issue of PSM reform. So I think once we can have a government that can improve governance, we are able to get some resources into that country and we can attract investment to be able to change the course of the direction of that country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The very last caller here, you have 30 seconds because we are out of time. 30 seconds, your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is D'Angelo Wilson. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Well, just a couple of things. I've been following the elections. But before I get into that, I just have 30 seconds. First, this is for Mrs. Family. Right, the road to Sierra Leone is paid. I've driven there several times. That's even told
the road to Sierra Leone is paid from where? When you cross the border into Sierra Leone, you tell me the road is paved.
Hold on, Carl.
No, let me ask you what specifically he's talking about. You say when you cross the border?
Just road business, Mr. Carlo. Let's go to our issue tonight.
I want to move on from that. Yeah, we can move on from that, but I just want to clarify that. I can just.
That's not true.
One thing that's concerning to me is the fact that when after elections there was CDC, UP say, hey, let's wait for NEC, let's wait for NEC. But now we're seeing people in leadership, on Facebook claiming like if they feel that the party win certain areas, will go on Facebook and claim that win. But if they feel the party is not doing good and say, hey, wait for NEC. So those things, my concern is that people that lead should lead. If you're telling everyone, say, let's wait for the NEC, it should be across the board. It shouldn't be selective based on, okay, you know what, my political leader win this place, so I will go online and make statement. And if you see both CDC, UP, maybe UP may not be doing it as much as CDC, but these things can, draw chaos because right now everybody said have the tally sheets. We don't know. We haven't seen the tally sheet. We can verify unless people that are after the day can verify the tally sheet. So my advice is maybe we just wait, or if everyone can put up the tally sheet, they should do it. And then for Mr. Cummings, I submitted Cummings last election. This election, I shy away because mainly Mr. Cummings is a good man. Talked to him before, but the people around him, especially those people on Facebook, on social media, We say we want to preach good. We want to stay away from all these nasty politics. But on Facebook, it's not. And most of the time when I talk to people that support Kamala, I say, hey, maybe you should have a message for all those that support him. Say, hey, you guys want me to be president? Talk about me. Talk about my accomplishment. Reach out to people. Instead of you talking about how this other political party was this person is this, it wasn't that. But that message doesn't come up from him. Every time he just say, you know what? We gotta go, want to reach. It doesn't matter which way you take. If you want me,
Thank you.
So this election, I most likely sat back. I was more looking for a Ogongo fan because to me, like most people say, like if you look at the election, Liberia vote mainly on who they like, who they feel gave them the job they want. They don't look at platform. They don't look, most likely they don't look at that. Very few will pay attention to that.
Thank
So
you.
because of that, we that know, we're looking at Gongolo, we're looking at Commons, say, hey, these are good guys for Liberia, but the majority will not go that route. So that's why if Commons is coming back or Gongolo is coming back, they need to literally differentiate themselves from the political and work harder than what they did before. Because right now, most people say, hey, they don't think Commons can be president again because of the numbers.
Thank you, D'Angelo. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, it's a little over 2 hours. Glendy, your response, and then we'll give our closing. You respond to our callers on behalf of the group.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the participation. I mean, everybody gave their opinion. I don't have anything additional to add to what they said.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow is Tough Talking Thursday, and we're going to continue with our post-elections analysis on Tough Talking Thursday, and this is where we talk even tougher than what we did today. So please tune in. The time is 7:30. You don't want to miss that. By tomorrow night, we are expecting more election results, and we'll have a clearer picture than today. So you don't want to miss that. Well, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for the show. I want to thank our viewers. At this time, we're going to go around the room for your closing. Let me start with Carl.
Yeah, so a lot was said, much of which was just people's opinions. But as far as to respond to Elvis Morris's question, this is 2023. So everybody has, technology at their disposal. What I do, what my organization does, is we get the tally sheets, we have everything scanned, and it's put into QuickBase. So it basically QuickBase is able to go in there right away, calculate, not calculate, but it puts it's a database that it sets up with the precinct numbers, their locations, everything is there. It's very user friendly, very small margin of error. You can also go back and click and check on the data source and put that against the data, but you're not sitting there counting with your fingers in 2023. So when someone sends you a photo, a snapshot of a tally sheet, it can be scanned and translated straight to QuickBase. There's other software people use. It's not only the government of Liberia that has access to technology. In fact, some of the technology that we're using is probably a little bit more sophisticated than what I see to be happening. So it's like real time. So that answers your question there. And Dennis, I know you don't want me to say this, but when you get to the Sierra Leone border, the road is not paved until you get to Bo or Kenema. I've driven both ways, all the way to the ferry through Zimi. It's an old, dilapidated dirt road. When you get to Bo, it's paved. Liberian people like this thing of always trying to praise other countries blindly. Yes, Sierra Leone has a great road structure, but not leading to the Liberian border. It was Liberia that paved the road to Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone did not reciprocate. It has always been a dirt road once you leave Bo or Kenema, headed through the Gola Forest, period.
When did you see that road?
You see, Carl, please just stop this road.
No. When did you see it?
The last time I drove on that road was 2016.
Oh, come on now. I was just there last year.
I just looked at Google Earth, and it's less than 6 months ago. It's still dirt road. It's still a dirt road.
I drove from Central Morovia all the way to Freetown.
Carl, please make your comment.
How you got to Freetown?
Please conclude and leave the road.
The road paved through Zimi?
Carl, please. Let's leave the road business.
You even go to Zimi. How you got to Freetown?
I don't think you know your country. If you
Let me ask you, how did you get to Zimi? You went to Zimi. How you got to Bo?
You go through Grand Kema and Bombing Hill. You go
And
to
how
Miami.
when you cross the border into Sierra Leone, you see how you get live? I'm
No,
so
listen.
shocked.
No.
Once you get
Dennis, wait, listen.
No. James, please let me get your closing.
no, when you cross the border, how you get to go in Sierra Leone? It's not on.
Let's leave the road business. We are not talking Sierra Leone road. James, let me get your closing comments.
Why do
please.
you guys do this?
I don't want us to talk about Sierra Leone road and Labrador road.
Yeah, because they're so dishonest. They let us cuss our poor little country, and they don't even know what they're talking.
Go back there right now. Drive. You'll see it.
James, let me get your closing.
Dennis, I like Dorset. I'll go make posts on you or Gabriel. Don't get me started. That's something I really do all the time. Don't get me started. Dennis, to conclude, I will make posts on it. You can find everything yourself. Since Dennis don't want to use his platform.
I will send you the pictures so you will see what I'm talking about.
Here, I don't believe you, Dennis. So to get to my point here, Dennis, we have technology, we have databases, we have the resources to record and catalog the information that we have. So yes, Elvis Morris, things are documented, and I'm sure it's not only Save the State doing this, many other organizations, political parties, independent sources are doing the same thing. So be not afraid, citizens of the Republic, your votes will be counted.
James, you're closing. You're muted, James.
One of the questioners was trying to really put down what the VP could potentially do for that country. Really great things. And he even went as far as dismissing any potential for the VP to be able to make any international penetration. And I just wanted to remind him that he has had a president of Liberia for 6 years who was not able to meet the president of the United States in any formal exclusive setting, unlike the VP who was formally invited and had a formal reception at the White House and had a day with the president of the United States.
That president of the United States will eat.
And the president of the United States is the greatest man of influence in the world. If you can just gain access to him, he can give you that amount of access and recognition to sit with you and talk. That's an opportunity to make a proposal and make arrangements and advance some interest. So that is not quite accurate. And on the issue of decentralization, I don't think decentralization is antithetic to collectivism. Mainly when you hear about collectivism in the world now, it pertains primarily to economic and defense security. However, in the meantime, those very nations have great decentralization internally. Like, for example, the state of Ohio is pretty much exactly the same size as Liberia. However, it has 89 counties.
Do you want to go into the decentralization issue again?
No, I'm just trying to make a point. Others have
if
point.
you bring decentralization, Echo, we will talk about her roads, okay?
I don't know. Okay, look. I think we need to
let's talk about the roads. The Betty Bo waterside that both
the election that took place in Liberia, the massive, what I call the massive turnout, I would say behemoth. The behemoth turnout of Liberians.
We don't even know the turnout yet.
Well, it was very deteriorating.
It was basically seen by the way Liberians line up very early.
We don't have any turnout numbers yet. So
that's what I'm saying. There are other ways you can measure that. There are Liberians. That was the first time Liberians ever went to do encampment, where they were in the night and waiting for the day at polling centers. That is an indication. To me, that alone attests to the hunger of Liberians for better time for Liberia, for greater time for Liberia and its promises. And we all should look forward to greater days ahead for change in Liberia, for change in the leadership, and for change in a lot of the lives of the Liberian people. And I look forward to that. I foresee myself being an active participant as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Carter.
Yeah. So what was the question? Sorry.
Your closing statement.
Oh, okay.
Don't bring up road business here.
I'm not talking about road. I'm done with that. You say the last time you were there 2016, so I rest my case.
You rest your case.
I did. I rest my case, Your Honor. No, seriously. I think I don't think I have much to say. We have to respect the will of the people. That's what they decide, and that's what the consequences they're going to live with. You make a decision. You live with the consequences. What I would like to say is that I still do believe that we left the best candidate out. We failed to elect the best candidate, and with the two that are currently in the race, I don't see anything changing about Liberia. There's one thing that I hope, and if only one thing that I hope either one of them can do if they do end up getting elected, is just please keep the country safe so many people can go back and do business. That's it. Other than that, but the country being economically better off than it is right now, to say that you take it from one level to bring it to another level to make us competitive regionally or globally, we're not going anywhere, Dennis. And this is not trying to be a doom or gloom. This is just the history of both candidates that are currently in the lead right now. And I will leave it on that. I still believe that Mr. Cummings should have been a far better off candidate for everybody, for better Liberia. I still believe that. So I will leave it on that. Thank you.
Glendy?
Great show, Dennis. It's good to be on. Looking forward to seeing more numbers from NEC tomorrow so we can stop chasing the tally sheets and stop hearing predictions. But on the overall, I think hopefully the people of Sasstown were able to vote today. On the overall, we will.
Sasstown voter, right? I think it's Sino.
We'll be looking out to see what we're hearing and which camp has the momentum and what I'm pretty sure tomorrow, because the conversation today was pretty much dominated by UP. I know CDC will come out tomorrow. Are they not supposed to do a pre-victory rally tomorrow? That was already planned, I think. So hopefully they will be on the sorghum tree tomorrow. Who knows? But great show.
Thank you very much to all of you for your time on this Wednesday evening. Always, we encourage our people to watch Focus on Liberia.
Watch the History Channel.
The History Channel, by popular demand, we had our fine show. You say you won the election, so we give you election today. Until then, I want to say thank you to our viewers, and keep watching. Yes. Follow us on all major social media platforms. At this time, we close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.